of Elevating with Marcia. I'm your host, Marcia Hawkins. Today I'm talking with a colleague of mine, Mike Athas, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of online marketing. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Hey, Marcia, I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. Starting the new year off right with a powerful podcast. So today I want to talk to you about search engine optimization, but more importantly, some of the questions that I get when I'm talking to a prospective client or a current client. And that is, why do I need, I've built a website. Why do I need online marketing? Do you know why someone needs online marketing and the importance of it?
Well, my thought is, I've lived this firsthand. I've built out an online presence, kind of, with my agency, Blue Wave Financial. But at the same time, I wasn't getting actual traffic to go there. And so the whole point of having an online presence is to drive leads and drive traffic and drive awareness.
Mhm.
And everything that I did on my own up until you and I started talking about this was generating only results from things that I was basically paying to drive traffic with. And so
Mhm.
there was zero organic traffic, zero people calling my phone as a result of what I put out there. And so
Mhm.
to have that SEO and to have the online presence where when people actually look up things like your business and have them have you populate on that screen on your search results, that's a big deal because all of a sudden your marketing dollars can change a little bit where you're not necessarily going out and buying a bunch of leads, or you're not going out and buying um, resume seats to hire agents like I have been, but you can invest more heavily into your actual website and have that traffic come there. So I've seen a big difference with the big with that change just from where my dollars are going. Am I spending money on Indeed ads or resume seats or just marketing out to life insurance sales to I can invest in my site and that's a permanent thing. So that's
Right.
where my thought is with it.
It is. And, like for someone like me, I have built out the Marcia Hawkins agency. Now, I am an insurance agent, but I do provide marketing services for electricians, for plumbers, other life insurance agents, multi line agencies. I run the gamut of that, personal injury attorneys, certified public accountants, you name it. Um, and so there's a couple of things that I want to touch on today. First of all, if you do not have a website or you have thrown up a free one, I equate it, and this may not be a very good analogy, but I think it will give you a visualization. It's the equivalent, if you throw up a free website with Wix or Google or something like that, it's the equivalent of having a nice built storefront and which would be a website that I would build for you, or it's the a cardboard box, and that cardboard box is not going to garner the result that you need. Many of the websites that are out there, well, aesthetically pleasing, and you would go to them. I have yet to, well, no, I guess I have found a few websites that are just void of any content. And I don't think people understand that the content on a website is a direct correlation with your relationship with the major search engine. So that's very, very important. You would never ever open a business and build a brick and mortar presence and then never touch it. Never, let's say you were a retail store, you would never just do your windows and just leave them for 5 years. And yet I run into that constantly where people are just not updating their website. And I get it. They don't know how to do it. They don't have time to do it, but they're not willing to recognize that that's really the first step. It should be the first thing you do before you do any other form of marketing. Because even if you're going to do radio and God forbid you're still doing print, um, they're still going to go to your website and pre-qualify you. And whether or not you have the right content on there, the right conversion content on there, and let's take for example an electrician. Okay, so an electrician is like, oh my God, I'm busy, or I'm so busy, I can't even see straight. And I'm like, well, that's terrific. And you kind of sit back for a minute in the chair, and then they'll say, but I'm getting calls for jobs I don't want to do. If
Yeah.
someone called me with a vaulted ceiling and they can't change the light bulbs out and they hire me to come over and do it, That's not cost effective for an electrician. That's not what they want to be doing. They
Sure.
wanted to they want to do new homes or remodels, or they want big commercial jobs. And so it's about obtaining the traffic, being able to pull like a magnet the traffic off the major search engines and direct them over to you. So one question that I get a lot is, well, why don't I should just for the amount of money it's going to cost me for the business marketing services that you provide, I could just go do Google AdWords. Well, it begs the question, well, you could. Do you know how to write a Google AdWord that is going to A, work, and B, is it going to attract the right traffic that you want? And what is that going to cost you? So, one of the problems that many people run into on the Google AdWords is that while they're paying it, like I just had a meeting with a client the other day. He goes, I'm spending $1,500 a month in Google AdWords. And I said, how's it working? He goes, it's not. One of the challenges I see with Google AdWords is sometimes Google will grant that position based off a similar keyword, but not the actual keyword that you're looking to be found for. And so you may pay for that click, but most likely it's not going to convert. So it's you can pay for the Google AdWords, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is going to convert into a sale. And that's key. And that's where a highly optimized and a well constructed website comes in, because if you're being found for that particular word based on how we created your and designed your website and structured it, then you have a higher probability of conversion. So when I spoke to this guy the other day, he's like, no, I don't know how to write the Google AdWords. So I have somebody doing it. And that's the bulk of what he's paying, is he's paying someone to create those ads for him. And then he's got to then dump X amount of dollars into a spend budget for those Google AdWords. And then once you've exhausted the spend account, you've got to reload it again, and then, wash, rinse, repeat. But, Google AdWords, I will tell you that if done right, they do work, but it's an endless, you're endlessly funding it. Um,
You're going to constantly have to pay for that to be
exactly,
top of the
exactly.
page too. I mean that's an
Rather,
endless
yeah,
cost that
yes,
never
rather
goes
than
away.
getting yourself as an authority in the search engines, and Google's like, okay, Google has a mandate of what they're looking for. And our services is that we provide each, facet of that mandate to ensure that, you're getting the quality traffic that you want. Like that is the key. So that's one area that I wanted to touch upon too. But I, for the life of me, do not understand why people, to go back to what I talked about earlier, that they don't understand the importance of having a website, and they're just so quick to say, well, I'm just going to go on GoDaddy, or I'm going to go on Wix or Google and just throw up a one-page ad, and that's good enough. And they don't realize that they're really making a huge mistake, because you really need content. When it comes to the internet, is king. And right now, I mean, you can go on, I'm sure you've experienced this, Mike. You go onto Facebook, you might be on your cell phone talking about something, and next thing you know, you're being solicited on Facebook for all of those
Nonstop.
ads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really has like nothing to do with what you're looking to market online, but yet you're being inundated with all those ads, and that's really, so you're doing Facebook ads. You're basically doing the same thing. So I'm old school. I am old school, and I've said all along, what the mall did to Main Street, the internet did to the mall, and you got to play by the rules, and you've got to realize that, well, um, you would never have somebody come into your office or your place of business, and it's, like 5 years worth of trash around, and you haven't,
Yeah.
redone your windows. And so it really it begs, the attention. And Google, what used to happen, and it took 30 days, now takes 30 seconds on the internet. And you just need to be very well prepared, with your online presence. And I don't know one business owner, unless they're in, they're doing what I'm doing, I know of not one business owner that has time to devote to that. And that's where a company like our services comes in to play, because we will take that monkey off your back and be able to maintain it for you. And you sell your business, let's say you retire, you sell your business or whatever, you are handing somebody, for your geographical location and for your industry, a beautiful gift. I mean, I know of one contractor that passed away, and his online presence was so good that his surviving spouse was able to sell it for a few $100,000 just
Wow.
between the phone number and the domain and everything else. She made close to $300,000 being able to sell the marketing and the online presence that her husband had. So it really is an investment. The other thing I want to point out is that you can go online and you can find anybody to do SEO for you. You can find anybody to do web design, but I'm telling you, there's a huge difference between a modular built website and SEO package versus one that is stick built and is actually humanly affected. We're not using AI, or we're not using automated systems to provide the lead generation for our clients. We're actually doing the heavy lifting, and that is kind of where we break away from everybody else. And then, if not to make it any better, we offer our services on an exclusive basis. So if we're working for a personal injury attorney, say in Hartford, Connecticut, we're not going to be working for another personal injury attorney in that vicinity. And we give them pretty wide berth of their geographical location, so that we can deliver the results that we want to deliver and start to push out their competition.
That's great. There's nothing worse than working with a company that is going to sell you something and sell your competitor the same thing the next day. That's terrible. So I love the fact that if it's the personal injury attorney in Hartford, Connecticut, that's what it is, and that they're going to get the full attention. That's a very worthwhile right there.
Absolutely. And for people that have, had maybe a free website or a one-page website with no content on it, it does take some time. It's just like when you do radio ads, they tell you give it 6 months. It does take time. We can probably produce results quicker than that. But a lot of times the online presence, we're trying to overcome that. We have to, we have to figure that out. And that plays into it. Then you also have the competition in your localized area. We have to spend a lot of time finding out what your competition is doing, so that we can counter that, if you will.
Yeah.
And then, and also, I think one thing I always tell my clients, please answer your phone. I know we're all conditioned for robocalls and we don't want to do it, but most people, if they don't get you on the phone, they're going to go right to the next one. So I beg people all the time, please, whatever number you decide to promote within your website for your lead generation for your business, please answer the phone. Because you never know. But I know, for one, if I don't get somebody, I go on to the next one, because usually if somebody is on the phone calling you, they are ready to buy, and they want what they want when they want it. And if you're not available, they'll just move on to someone else. And you and I both know in the insurance industry that it is alive and well.
It's very alive and well. It's funny. At the beginning of my insurance career, I had a mentor that was talking about exactly that and answering your phone. He's like, look, the only reason that you don't answer your phone is because you're broke and bill collectors are calling you. So the second you're not broke, or if you're trying to become not broke, I guess it also applies, answer your phone, and you'd be shocked at how many more sales you make, and how much more comes to you just by purely picking up your phone, compared to just hitting that decline button because you don't know the number. And it's like the fear of unknown with that. I can understand it. Like, yes, you don't want to have to talk to a bill collector if you're behind on your bills. I understand that. But at the same time, if you have someone calling you, and let's say you're behind your bills, but your phone is ringing for someone that wants to go purchase a policy from you, I'd rather go sell that policy and then use that income from the policy to go pay off that bill collector. So
Yeah,
it's
think about
answer the
this.
phone is the bottom line.
Yeah, yeah, think about this. You just were injured in an auto accident, and you're sitting in the hospital, you're day 3, and you're recognizing that you've got long-term medical bills. You're going to be out of work for a long time, and you
Yeah.
pick up the phone and you do a search for a personal injury attorney, and Omaha, Nebraska, or wherever you happen to be, and our magic has worked and your listing is dominating in the search engines, and someone tries to call you and they can't get you, they're going to go on to the next one because they're laying in a hospital bed and they want answers. Or like and I admit I was guilty of it up until probably a year ago, because my theory was, let it go to voicemail, I'll grab the information, I'll call that person back. But a lot of times they won't do that. They'll go on to the next one. But more importantly, I cannot tell you, since I really started ramping up my own marketing for my insurance business, that the calls that I'm getting, and this is the interesting piece, they're not tire kickers, number one, and they're a b ready to buy, but more importantly, the quality of the policies that I'm writing, um, shocking. It's like I'm getting results for the services and the products that I love doing the most, which I love doing disability policies, and I love doing long-term care policies, and I love doing tax-free retirement policies with an index universal life
Yeah,
that doubles kind of as a disability, and with the
it has all of it. Yeah.
yeah. So I love the fact that I'm getting the calls. If you're an insurance agent, buying the leads and then having to sit and smile and dial for hours, I would rather have a colonoscopy. Let's face it. It's not fun. 99% of the time, they know it's probably a spam call, in their eyes. And they may have requested the information and had forgotten about it, or they thought that they were filling out something completely different than life insurance. So,
I think it's such an uphill battle. And I mean, just yesterday, my phone rang. I picked it up because we just had the conversation why I answered my phone. And it was a guy calling me. He said, "You filled out a form back in October for health insurance." And I'm like, well, first of all, I didn't, because I own a health insurance agency. So that'd be kind of silly if I did. But anyway, he's calling me from like a lead that he had from October. And it's like, that's an uphill battle. How many phone calls does he have to make to go through and dial just false or fraudulent or crappy leads? Like, no way. That's not something that I want to do personally. It's not something I want my agents to do. This way works so much better. Just have the phone ring for you, and then you just talked about it. If you have great quality clients calling you that are looking for coverage, it's going to stick on the books, and we want that for our insurance carriers, and that's a win-win.
yeah, and just to kind of like run through the process. So, I have gotten over that. I pick up I don't care what the area code is or whatever. If it's not intended for me, I'm happy to say I don't have bill collectors calling me, but I understand that's why a lot of people don't. But I answer. I don't care where it is. If there's a delay and I know it's not somebody, but I will tell you, when I answer the phone and it's someone looking for a disability policy or a life insurance policy or a home and auto or whatever it happens to be, or marketing services, they've heard about me or whatever. But here's the interesting piece: when they call you, they're most likely they are ready to buy. They have taken action to reach out to an insurance agent. How many people do that? Nobody, unless they actually need the insurance. So they're reaching out to you on that. So they're ready to buy. But in addition to that, I cannot tell you the amount of referrals that you end up getting from that, because there's no threat, there's no pressure. I'm big on educating. I always tell people when I sit down to talk to, I'm not here to sell you insurance. I'm here to explain to you what your options are so you can make a knowledge based decision. And if you want to buy insurance, I will help you fill out that application and get you approved. That is really how I go about it. And so you have kind of peeled away the stress of that person feeling like they're being, pressured into buying anything. Let's face it, we know those kinds of agents exist. It's just, in my opinion, they do that because they're not getting referrals. And if you're not getting referrals for your business, you really need to take a serious look at that
Sure.
as to why you're not getting referrals. Because if you're a good agent and you're good at what you do and you provide exactly what they're calling you for, you will get referrals,
Yeah.
hands down. Yeah.
Yep. Referrals are tough because, especially with talking about agents that are used to just buying leads, buying leads, it's so easy to just buy more leads. With this, I would much rather sell to a referral in the first place. There's so much, so much information, and so many people have talked about. I'd rather go sell a referral than go sell to a lead. But the problem with referrals is you can't control the number of them. But when you start providing exemplary service to these clients, all of a sudden the referrals just start flying in, and it's not such a big deal where your number of referrals that you're getting, you're not limited by that. I mean, you're going to have an endless supply of referrals when you start providing the service that people are asking for and calling you for. So that's been
Exactly.
my experience with it.
Exactly. So it's win-win. I just to recap, I prefer to invest in, first of all, you need a website. If you don't think you do, you're crazy. I know the free ones are a quick fix, but in the long run, you end up hurting yourself. Give it to the professionals that know how to do it. It will be the best money you ever spent. Whether you work with us or you work with another marketing company, just make sure that they will offer the services exclusively, and it should be a complete package. So they're managing your website, they're managing the content, they're managing your Google Place, your reviews. They're doing everything, and that they're on a consistent basis, making sure that they're looking to see how you're being received in the major search engines, so that your phone ultimately rings for the jobs and the services you want to provide versus what you're doing to survive.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, perfect. All right, you were listening to another edition of Elevating with Marcia. I'm your host, Marcia Hawkins. We were talking about business marketing services and how it can help you grow your business. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for tuning in.